Joining us now, Fox News political analyst. She's a great writer and thinker, Lisa Boothe. Lisa, what do you make of all that?
Liz.
And also this, let's get to this quickly. President Biden finally admitted to USA Today that, yes, he himself is not sure he would have lasted 4 more years in the White House, saying, quote, "Who the hell knows what I'm going to be like when I'm 86 years old." What do you make of all this?
Well, then why did he run in 2024 in the first place? I mean, I think one of the biggest lies that have been told about Joe Biden is that somehow he's a good man. This is someone who's a prolific liar, someone who's very corrupt. Even if you look at when he launched his candidacy in 2020, it was based on the Charlottesville lie. These lies that were told about what Donald Trump said about that event. He said that it was a battle for the nation, a battle for the soul of the nation. And then since then, over the past 4 years, he's corrupted that soul. He's weaponized the government against political opponents, Donald Trump, as well as these pro-life Catholics. He has forced our military heroes out of their positions over an experimental vaccine. He has encouraged the mutilation of children's bodies in the name of transgenderism, encouraged abortions. He gave this blanket and corrupt pardon to his son Hunter, dating back to 2014 when he joined the Burisma Holdings. And he also lied to us about it. He told us he wasn't going to pardon him when, of course, he was going to, and then lied about his knowledge of his son's business dealings. So I think he's going to go down as a failed president for a litany of, policy failures, but also as a liar and corrupt.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, just you're looking at a split screen shot of top GOP Senate leadership. They're now arriving to meet with President Trump on Capitol Hill about his agenda. So it's a multiple scandals. It's a cover up of his decline. It's a corruption scandal of his family profiting off of his government job. It's lawfare attacks against Trump. You know, that Gallup poll, voters ranked Biden as the worst president since Nixon. What happened? I mean, Biden, Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer kept trying to hammer away that Biden was the second FDR. A majority, 54%, now say Biden is below average, even poor. Let's take a listen. You know who's swaying in on this, Lisa? Take a moment for a second and just listen to former top aides to Barack Obama slamming Biden as, quote, stubborn and feckless. Watch.
Don't you guys feel like an op-ed about January 6th is just the perfect encapsulation of how feckless everything feels in this moment?
Yes.
Yes. Well, yes. But if you're too mired in the past, right? If you become from the original philosopher, stubborn like an old man, you also become doomed to repeat yourself because you're not adaptable and you don't learn from what's happening in the actual present. And so,
that's pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
Pretty scary, critics are saying, is if Trump lost and Kamala won, we may not have them talking about this. People now increasingly say Biden was out of it. He also told USA Today he's considering preemptive pardons for public figures like Liz Cheney and Dr. Anthony Fauci. That's unconstitutional. He can't violate the Constitution like that. He just sent another $500 million over to Ukraine as people are reeling in the LA wildfires. So who's been running the nation?
Well, it's all a mess. And Donald Trump's going to have his work cut out for him over the next 4 years, or soon to be President Donald Trump again. But it was also Joe Biden and Democrat policies and ideas that were rejected. It wasn't just his health. It was the way that the Democrats run the country. It was the border. It was the foreign policy. It was the big government. It was the crazy idea about children and transgenderism, right? So Kamala Harris was also rejected. So this wasn't just about Joe Biden's age and us all being lied to about that. This was also a rejection of the way that Democrats run government and the way they see the world as well.
Lisa Boothe, you're terrific. Read Lisa Boothe. Listen to her. She's great stuff.